Hello बच्चों, let's read this question. So the question says 100 ml of 0.5 molar hydrazoic acid whose Ka is 3.6 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 4 and 400 ml of 0.1 molar cyanic acid whose Ka is 8 into 10 raised to the power minus 4 are mixed. Which of the following is true for the final solution? So here the key concept is dissociation of weak acids. Dissociation of weak acids. Alright. So यहाँ पर दो एसिड्स जो कि डिफरेंट कॉन्सेंट्रेशन एंड डिफरेंट अमाउंट्स में प्रेजेंट है उनको हम मिक्स कर रहे हैं. सो द कॉन्सेंट्रेशन, द वॉल्यूम आफ्टर मिक्सिंग, that is equal to volume of hydrozoic acid, that is 100, plus volume of cyanic acid, that is 400 ml. So this is equal to 500 ml. Now the concentration of hydrozoic acid after mixing will be, so this is N3H, and the concentration of N3H will be previous concentration, that is 0.5, multiplied by previous volume, that is 100, divided by V mix, that is 500. So this is equal to 0.1 molar, and the concentration of cyanic acid will be HOCN concentration, that is equal to previous concentration, that is 0.1 molar, multiplied by 400 ml, that is the previous volume, divided by the volume after mixing, that is 500 ml, and this is equal to 0.08 molar. Alright, so let it be C1 and let it be C2. Now हम इनके इक्विलिब्रियम एक्सप्रेशंस को देखते हैं. So इसके जो इक्विलिब्रियम एक्सप्रेशंस हैं, for N3H we have N3H is in equilibrium with H plus plus N3 minus, and HOCN is in equilibrium with H plus plus OCN minus. Let us say we had C1 concentration of N3H at first, जिसमें से कि C1 alpha amount of N3H dissociate हो चुका है. So let it be C1 alpha 1. So amount of H plus that is formed is C1 alpha 1, and amount of N3 minus that is formed is C1 alpha 1. Similarly for HOCN we had C2 concentration at first, जिसमें से कि C2 alpha 2 dissociate हो चुका है. So H plus concentration will be C2 alpha 2, and OCN minus concentration will be the same, that is C2 alpha 2. But ये दोनों जो एसिड्स हैं वो सेम सॉल्यूशन में प्रेजेंट है. सो दोनों में H plus प्रेजेंट है. सो द amount of H plus will be added up. So H plus concentration will be equal to C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2, जो दोनों के समेशंस हैं. So we can write it over here, that is H plus concentration is equal to C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2, and here also this is C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2. Alright, now अगर हम इनके equilibrium constants के expressions लिखें, then let this be Ka1, and this is equal to concentration of H plus multiplied by concentration of N3 minus. So this is C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 multiplied by C1 alpha 1 divided by concentration of N3H, that is C1 minus C1 alpha 1. हम इसको C1 को कॉमन फैक्टर लेके भी लिख सकते हैं, C1 multiplied by 1 minus alpha 1. So C1 and C1 get cancelled, and alpha 1 की वैल्यू कम है, बहुत कम है as compared to 1. So we can neglect alpha 1 from here, and then the value will be Ka1, that is equal to C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 multiplied by alpha 1. Similarly, अगर हम HOCN के equilibrium constant की बात करें, then let this be Ka2, and this is equal to concentration of H plus C1 alpha 1 plus concentration C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 multiplied by OCN minus concentration C2 alpha 2 divided by C2 1 minus alpha 2. So C2 and C2 get cancelled, and 1 minus alpha 2 will also be equal to 1 because alpha 2 is much less than 1. So we will get this expression Ka2 is equal to C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 multiplied by alpha 2. Alright, so let us number these two equations, equation 1 and equation 2. Now हमें H plus N3 minus और OCN minus के concentrations चाहिए. So H plus concentration, as we know, this is equal to C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2. OCN minus concentration is equal to C2 alpha 2 and N3 minus concentration is equal to C1 alpha 1. So first let us get the concentration of H plus, that is C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2. Now we have C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2, और अगर हम alpha 1 और alpha 2 की वैल्यू इक्वेशन 1 और इक्वेशन 2 से पुट करें, then this will be Ka1 divided by C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2. So this is C1 multiplied by Ka1 divided by C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus alpha 2 के बदले C2 multiplied by Ka2 divided by C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2. Alright, so C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 is equal to C1 Ka1 plus C2 Ka2 divided by C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2. और अगर हम क्रॉस मल्टीप्लाई करें, then C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 whole square will be equal to C1 Ka1 plus C2 Ka2, and this value, that is C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2, will be square root of C1 Ka1 plus C2 Ka2. ऑलराइट, और यही है H प्लस की कॉन्सेंट्रेशन. सो अगर हम इसकी वैल्यू डिटरमाइन करें, सो C1 इसकी वैल्यू है 0.1 मोलर एंड C2 इसकी वैल्यू है 0.08 मोलर. सो 0.1 multiplied by Ka1, that is 3.6 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 4, plus C2, that is 0.08 multiplied by Ka2, that is 8 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 4 and its square root. So simplification के बाद जो वैल्यू निकल के आती है, that is 10 raised to the power minus 2 मोलर, और ये वैल्यू है H plus concentration की. So H plus concentration is equal to 10 raised to the power minus 2 molar. Alright, now let us determine the values of OCN minus and N3 minus. So for N3 minus we have this C1 alpha 1, और अगर हम alpha 1 की वैल्यू इक्वेशन 1 से पुट करें, then this will be C1 multiplied by Ka1 divided by C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2. Alright, and this will be equal to C1 Ka1 divided by, यहाँ पर हमें C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 की वैल्यू इस एक्सप्रेशन से हम निकाल सकते हैं. So this is square root of C1 K1 plus C2 Ka2 square root, और इसकी जो वैल्यू निकल के आती है, so C1 is 0.1 multiplied by Ka1, that is 3.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 4 divided by C1 Ka1 plus C2 Ka2 square root, that is equal to 10 raised to the power minus 2 molar. 10 raised to the power minus 2, and this value is equal to 3.6 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 3 molar. Alright, so this is the concentration of N3 minus. And let us talk about the concentration of OCN minus. So OCN minus concentration is equal to C2 alpha 2, और अगर हम alpha 2 की वैल्यू इक्वेशन 2 से पुट करें, then this will be equal to C2 multiplied by Ka2 divided by C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2. Alright, और C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 के बदले हम पुट कर सकते हैं C1 C2 Ka2 divided by C1 K1 plus C2 Ka2 square root. Now we can put the values. So C2 Ka2, that is 0.08 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 4 divided by C1 K1 plus C2 K2 square root is 10 raised to the power minus 2. So this is equal to 6.4 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 3 molar. And this is the concentration of OCN minus ions inside that solution. Now let us look at the options. So options में present है. First option is H plus concentration is equal to 2 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 2, which is incorrect because हमें पता चला है कि H plus की जो concentration है, that is only 10 raised to the power minus 2 molar. So option 1 is incorrect. Option 2, N3 minus concentration is equal to 3.6 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 2 molar, which is incorrect because N3 minus की concentration है 3.6 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 3 और यहाँ पर given है 3.6 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 2. Let us talk about option 3. Option 3 says OCN minus concentration is 4.571 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 3, which is incorrect because OCN minus concentration is 6.4 into 10 raised to the power minus 3, which is correctly given in option number 4. So our correct and final answer is option number 4. This is the required solution, and I hope you understood the concept well. Best of luck.